Hey folks, it's a beautiful day. Today I want to talk to you about the proposed dynamic routing model. Or rather, I'm going to talk to you about the vagaries that it has because it's not well defined. So let's start with it as they say it is. So they say that the dynamic routing model would be that routes are planned and optimized based on the day's volume, delivery addresses, pickups, and clearance activities. The routes will have a few stops that will always remain the same. So first we have to get into some language discussions. So they wanted to change the way what the word loop means. So currently a loop is a portion of a letter carrier walk which is completed in one departure from a vehicle. So right now you would park your vehicle, you would get out, put your satchel on, load up your mail, and walk your loop. That's not what the word loop means in dynamic routing. Loop is an area that could be occupied by 6 to 10 full-time letter carriers and at least one flex worker. So a loop is going to be more like a section of a depot, part of a depot in our city of Edmonton, right? So let's say the Mayfield depot would have 6 loops in it. And those loops would be broken up by the number of carriers. So that's important to understand. So the greater delivery area, probably a depot, will be divided into multiple loops, and each loop will be described by the amended LCRMS to include delivery, pickup, and clearance activities. The corporation may reallocate and reassign collection and delivery activities to employees within a loop. However, there will be planned placeholder stops for potential customer pickups and on-demands. Loops will contain many workers who will only work within that loop. So 6 to 10 full-time letter carriers, at least one flex worker. Each of these loops will be optimized daily by the amended language of the LCRMS. Assignment means full-time, part-time, flex, or relief, or any other assignment that may be identified by the corporation. So there's a lot to talk about here. So how will you pick your assignment? So full-time letter carriers will select by seniority a fixed schedule consisting of 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week. There's no comment on part-time workers, but flex workers will select by seniority defined work schedule within a loop of at least 4 hours a day and 20 hours a week with the same start time each day. But flex employees can be forced to work in other loops, which is not what they bid on, so I'm not sure how seniority is being violated in that regard. A process of daily loop selection may be established for those people. So basically forget everything that I said above when it's convenient for the corporation. And in the optimization, if there's anything that they can't optimize into the structure of your route, they're just going to say, doesn't matter, they don't need to calculate it, they'll just give it to you. Shall not be included in the calculation of full-time to part-time flex ratio under this appendix. Now, what they want is that flex carriers will be 15% of the full-time letter carrier complement, but they can bypass that as long as it's not something that can be structured into a route. See where this is getting confusing? And then we get into neighborhood mailings. So there wouldn't be a per piece payment, but the value would be included in the creation of the routes. It doesn't tell us how they would divide that amongst flex and non-flex workers, how it would be done. We won't be using the Appendix D, so all those rules will go out the window. So I don't know if it'll be expected for you to deliver 100% of your route of the day, or a third, or a quarter, or anything in particular. And how are they going to manage it when they keep moving people around? That I don't understand. And if there are any conflicts between the dynamic routing section of the collective agreement and any other section of the collective agreement, then the dynamic routing section will be determined to be the truth and have the authority. If CPC and the union can't meet to define the new rules that have not been established within 90 days, and they will be referred to a formal arbitration that will be resolved within 30 days. It'll be rushed through. Your arbitration from 8 years ago about the time that they stole from you, that doesn't matter, but this will get done in 30 days. So one of the things they talk about is a soft launch, and that's that they only want to implement it in 10 facilities during the life of the collective agreement. Well, TikTok, that's getting shorter and shorter by the minute. One facility may contain multiple depots, so it could be Rosedale that has 2 depots in it, or in Calgary there's some depots that have 3 or 4 facilities in them, so that could be rather extensive. So now we'll get down to the more of an opinion piece. So basically, they're going to carve up portions of a depot, and they're going to create routes within those routes. Your route will mostly be the same every day. However, you could shift one way or the other to cover for extra volume, for less volume. But there will be key points that'll be anchor points. These things would be like SLBs, customer pickups that have to be done every day. So you'd probably actually be bidding on the anchor points, but they don't want to talk about that. Now, they keep talking about the amended LCRMS, but they don't talk about what amendments they're making because they haven't made that decision. I think it's important to realize here that the collective agreement is not here to impede the corporation and experimentation. There is actually a portion of our collective agreement that is dedicated to pilot projects. In fact, we did a dynamic routing pilot project with them a couple of years ago, from what I understand, someplace in Quebec. And overall, it was viewed as a beneficial experience for everyone. Management didn't like it when the computer system went down because it was very heavily reliant on computers to figure it out. So then they had to figure it out on the fly, and it was pretty gross. The important thing to understand here, though, is that the dynamic routing system that they're offering here is not what they offered in Quebec. Matter of fact, when they came to the table and they said they wanted dynamic routing, we said, oh, like we had in Quebec, and they outright said no. So they want to do a pilot project, but they want to put it into our collective agreement. They want to be able to make changes to the LCRMS at a whim. They're not giving you a lot of control or options here, and they're not defining things. And then the flex carriers just get screwed. Like, you're bidding on a thing, but then apparently you can work anywhere. It's not well defined. It is chaotic. It is broken, and they just want to work this into a collective agreement to get it through, even though they don't know exactly what they want. This is a mess, and you pile it onto everything else, like the flex workers, the weekend parcel delivery, how the parcel volumes are going to vanish, and everything else. This is a bad seat. It is not well defined. They want to change the entire delivery system, and it takes up 3 pages of a 750-page document. That's not good enough. Vote no.